been in the ecosystem for about maybe 2 years because I was working as an end user using the system before becoming an admin. So if we calculate in that time, yeah, it's about 2 years. And I am currently a customer success specialist.
How do you like it so far?
So far, I like that I get to do the building and building out or a lot of project management coming into play there because I'm actually leading implementations and things of that sort, which is cool to be able to get that experience under my belt.
So it's a consultancy and you have clients, right?
Yeah, somewhat. So I work specifically for a company that has their own Salesforce-based product. I work specifically with these individuals, but I do have multiple accounts and types of clients, but they're all within the clinical trial.
What advice would you give someone who just started in Salesforce?
First of all, I would say, learn as much as you can, because of course that's your first one. It will be somewhat overwhelming because most people are transitioning from, other industries and things of that sort. So give yourself grace to learn and grow. And just because it's your first role doesn't mean that you're going to stay there forever. It's a stepping stone to you figuring out, where exactly you want to be 10, 15, 20 years from now. Maybe you do it for 5 years, just being able to be flexible and, get what you can get from that initial experience. Yeah.
How long did it take you to get comfortable in your current role?
It's a new industry, so I'm not just learning, more about Salesforce. I'm learning a whole new industry at the same time, and that learning curve. But I definitely starting to get to the place where I feel like I can go into one of my clients' orgs and be able to kind of navigate around and know what's going on in a general sense. But I still feel like I'm like, dang, you did that.
So I think I might know the answer to this, but do you still suffer from imposter syndrome?
Every day. I knew that. I can do that. We're good. I figured that out. I helped them with this. I know something. Oftentimes where I'm like, yo, when do we stop Googling?
Oh, you never stop.
I swear like I'm Googling every other day where I'm like, why is this not doing what it's supposed to be doing? Because it's not looking right or something or the other.
Every other day. Wait, every day. What helped me get over it is just accept the fact that everyone Googles, even those 10-year veterans, those architects, they all Google. It's impossible to remember everything. No one can remember that much stuff.
And it's constantly changing. So by the time you figure something out, you realize you didn't know what you thought you knew. And I'm like, can I get through flows?
Yeah, I have not learned flows yet. I'm a year into the ecosystem, still don't know how to do flows.
I can semi-read them, if that makes sense. So I can kind of sort of understand what's going on.
That's when you call on the Ohana and ask for help.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey guys, I need you to go. How do we do this? How do we do this? But I'm taking a course. I picked up the course through Certified CRM.
Oh, Daryl Moon's course.
I'm slowly yet surely kind of wading into the deep end. You start talking about something and flip it back over and over here, and then you have to make a decision, and then and you have to store something over here. Okay, now I'm
right there with you. I'm halfway through his course. I started a while ago and then just paused and then never started again. I'm gonna restart because I know I need to learn flows, but I found Daryl's course the easiest because he really breaks it down piece by piece and explains it.
So I do like that it's okay, and then get this little piece, and then you kind of build on top of that. But yeah, it might wrapping my head around it. I find myself having to read stuff multiple times. I don't know why it's not clicking.
It's just a completely different mindset. If you come from a developing background, it's apparently easier.
I've actually taken JavaScript and CSS, and I did a little bit touch of Ruby way back in the day. It still feels foreign to me to even try to wrap my head around. So I really want to get it under my belt before like January, February, because I'm going to go get my app builder.
Oh, you don't need to know how to build flows to get your app builder.
It's a large part of the exam is automation. So I want to make sure I'm comfortable, thinking through processing all that stuff, because even beyond that, with my role, there's a lot of flow.
Yeah, it's something you have to learn.
I really have to learn it. And I'm like,
Well, just FYI, Alex is starting an app builder study group live session, I think in January.
I saw somebody post, and I'm actually in a study group, because it was like, look, life is getting in the way, and we're not really studying before we come to the study group. So I had suggested we study during the time that we're supposed to have study group, so that you already have the time on your schedule, you've allotted for this time, just study during that time. That way, maybe at some point we'll be like, okay, cool. At the end of the week, let's go ahead and actually talk about some things. So we've been kind of independently studying, but we'll check in and be like, hey, I'm working on these things today, type of thing. Because it was like, did y'all study? No. Did you study?
When you say study, what is your process of actually studying?
So I'm just trying to work through that course. This is where my mindset is. I just want to get through that course, and then I can work through the rest of the trailhead. Then after that, I would go through the practice quizzes on Focus on Course. So that's kind of what my work through process is.
Yeah, I finished the trail. The super badge is not fun. It really does take 2 days. Just break it down piece by piece and just have a goal. Let me just finish this section of the super badge today, because that took a whole weekend. It was challenging.
Got it. Okay. Noted. I have to make sure I allot to do it.
I feel a little better. I felt kind of behind because a lot of other people have multiple certifications. I'm still 1X certified.
Part of me was like, should I be further along with certs? And people say, yeah, I got my Ranger and I got my I'm like, y'all,
we're busy working.
Can I get some? Because no.
You get so tired at the end of the day. I would tell myself, okay, I'll just do Trailhead at the end of the day. And then I never do it. I've switched now to do it first thing in the morning. Otherwise, it won't get done.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that, because beyond the study time that I have allotted, I do realize I'm more productive in the morning, but my mornings are so short though, because like I am using my mornings to go work out. My mornings are for working out, and then by the time I get my daughter off to school, come back home, get ready for work, eat something, and sit down on my computer. And I'm like, ah. And so after work, it's like, man, I just want to like not look at my computer, because I realized recently that I don't like sitting at my computer all day. And I didn't really click until like, oh shoot, like all of my jobs pre Salesforce they weren't in front of a computer. I wasn't in front of a computer all day. So I worked in hospitality industry. So I was in banquets. I was on the floor. I was walking the hotel all day, whatever the case may be. And then even after that, I was traveling for, again, still not in a traditional office setting, because I was in a ballroom, something like that. And then I was up and around the room, and I was moving. I was always moving in some capacity. So having to sit at my computer for 8 hours.
You should at least be standing up once an hour and taking a walk around the room. This is important. Otherwise, you're going to have issues later.
It's a lot of screen time.
It is. I highly recommend. There's this thing you can download on your computer. I think it's called Flux, like F.lux. So it automatically changes the light on your computer depending. It'll see your location, so it knows when sunrise and sunset is. So if you're on your computer late at night, it'll turn a yellow tint, but it's to help with the blue light, because your laptop emits blue light and it's not very good for you. I purchased these glasses that's supposed to help, but I always forget to put them on. So then I was like, oh, okay, let me just download this thing on my computer. But it's helpful, because otherwise your eyes are going to get really tired. You have a strong personal finance background, right? You choose FI.
That's my goal, girl.
Okay. So you're very careful with purchases. I'm curious, what has been your favorite, highest impact purchase this year?
That's a great question. Probably my gym membership, my trainer. I didn't realize how much I missed it. Because during the pandemic, because a lot of people were like, yeah, I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna sleep, I'm gonna sit there. I did the opposite of what other regular folk were doing, and I was working out like and all that other stuff. So I had the time and the space to get up and just do. And once I started working again, I was like, oh shoot, I don't have the time to just get up and do how I was. So investing in my trainer, at least for the past couple, has been really nice to get back to where I was somewhat. So yeah.
Yeah, I think mine might be this gaming chair. Yeah, it's pretty comfy. It has lumbar support because it's made for people who sit at their like desks for long periods of time. And it's not as expensive. I mean, it's still expensive. It was a couple $100s, but compared to the really nice chairs, I've been very happy with it.
Actually, I did just buy a new office chair because the chair that I have is okay, but it's not. Like I always find myself, so I'm like, okay, let me see if I can find something a little more comfortable. And I figured I'll give my child this. I don't know, I haven't put it together yet, so that's a whole nother.
So it's the end of the year. Do you have any goals or anything you'd like to focus on in 2022?
Yeah. So I guess get my next cert, getting flows up under my belt. I'm giving myself a deadline in February. So February. That's my goal with that. I've been trying to make a list of things that I want to learn. So I know often when you're in roles, and I think it also depends on who your manager is, how, what sort of support system they have within the company itself. But I'm trying to make a list of things that I feel like I need to know. So like being comfortable navigating sandboxes and, how do you push through any change, things like that. I want to make sure that I'm comfortable with, because it's like, okay, for example, if I was working in a role where I was a solo admin and we did things and, I want to be able to stand on my own 2 feet. Yes, there will be occasions, of course, because, we're always Googling and asking the community and things like that. But in a general sense, I want to be somewhat familiar with, those different sorts of tasks. So I'm starting to make a list of things that I want to learn, whether or not I learn them with my current employer or my next employer. These are things that I want to learn so that, overall, I just feel a little bit more comfortable, knowledgeable, whatever the case may be in a general sense. Outside of Salesforce, working on investing, finding another side hustle that will require a little. I want something a little bit more on the passive side where I can just create and then it is. So finding a new little side hustle to invest in, and also I'm getting into real estate, buying some property. So that's high on my to-do.
That's awesome. I haven't even dabbled too deeply into real estate.
I would say if you just want to kind of, I listen to like the podcasts and YouTube channels, stuff like that, Bigger Pockets, because I listen to their all the time, whether it's the rookie channel, their Bigger Pockets channel. They have a money one as well, where they have people on that are, talk about their financial independence journey and things like that. So it's a nice motivator to constantly hear it and, kind of get the juices flowing. Because I'm like, I gave myself, I said 55 was my, I want to retire by 55. So I'm like,
wait, and how many years is that?
So that's in 19 years. But I'm like, if I can figure out this real estate game and ramp up my investing, then I could probably do it within 10. So
yeah, I was gonna say, I think you can do it a lot faster.
I get something here and I get something there. But the more I'm reading and learning, and I'm like, ooh, honey, we're gonna push this timeline up. So yeah, I mean, far out, I say 20, but I think I can do it in 10. So yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait till it's been 10 years and we have a Talent Stacker reunion.
Can you imagine that? Because there's everybody, right? Where you now, where you started, where you at now. That would be interesting to see.
Think about where we were a year ago from today and where we're at now, and it's only been 1 year.
Crazy. Yeah, it's been a lot.
What has been the most surprising to you in this whole year?
The most surprising thing would probably be the amount of growth I've had in such a short, I feel like it's short, within like learning the system and even from my first role to where I'm at now. Like it's funny because it's like even when joining the talent stacker program and stuff like that, and you talk about, the 60K in 6 months and you see the numbers and you're like, okay, yeah. And then when you actually start to kind of see that manifest in your own space, in your universe, and you're like, oh, okay. So that realistically, if I keep moving in the way that I'm moving and the growth and stuff, then yeah, I could definitely hit 6 figures at some point. And it's like it feels
complete mind shift. Because I remember the first time I heard about FIRE, I read that Mr. Money Mustache article. I'm like, okay, I don't work in tech. This is not possible. And now we're here. And I feel like I'm probably really close to getting my personal capital call. And for those who don't know, you know what? Google it, figure it out yourself. Listen to Choose FI because it's a really cool milestone, and it's probably like the one major one because I heard it gets easier after that.
Yeah, I was like, okay. My focus has been right now with paying down debt, trying to get all of that, as much of it knocked off as humanly possible. But then I also realized that, as long as my credit cards are clear, I'm going to go ahead and start jumping into this real estate game because I want passive income to pay for the other stuff. And if I really don't have enough, I have a certain amount of debt or whatever the case may be, I'm never going. I'm gonna just go ahead and make it happen. And like how you're interviewing and just doing it. That's what I'm gonna do.